This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Someone told you had to move your house tomorrow. Do you have the money to do that? It's a lot of money to move it.
Only on RTV6, dozens of people are facing a tough task tonight. They have less than 2 months to move out of a mobile home park on the southwest side. Thanks for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. Residents of I-70 Mobile Home Park reached out to RTV6 for answers.
Our Cameron Riddle shows you they need help literally picking up their homes.
In TV, we often say a neighborhood is outraged or up in arms. But on the southwest side tonight, a neighborhood is literally livid after they just learned that everything they owned and worked for could be snatched from them in less than 60 days. And they want answers and their voices heard.
Well, I've lived here for 3 years and working hard, putting my money into it, making it look nice. And now I get this letter telling me that they're going to dispose of my home.
A generic-looking white piece of paper was the talk of the I-70 Mobile Home Park this afternoon. It says the park's owners is shutting down operations as an alternative to fixing $100,000 in water pipe problems. Now residents who own their homes are scrambling to try to figure out how to move entire buildings from land that is owned by someone else.
If you can imagine taking your home and picking it up and moving it somewhere else, it's not something you do overnight. You know, they're evicting us and saying that we have to be out in 60 days. It's not like living in an apartment and you're going to move your trailer or you're going to pack up your stuff and get out of the apartment and get in another one. It's not that way.
With a list of questions and no answers from the park's owners, multiple residents started calling lawyers and RTV6. When we arrived at the park, nearly 70 residents were waiting to hear from us in hopes of getting answers.
So I ask you, audience, what would you do if someone came up and said they wanted to dispose of your house, that you took all your sweat and equity and put into that house of yours? What would you do? Well, we're calling you.
RTV6 did just that, making calls to the owner of the mobile home park. Jay Hurt, the brother of the woman listed as the park's owner, called me back as I was surrounded by dozens of tenants. He agreed to answer my questions on speakerphone, as long as we didn't record his conversation. He told me the cost to repair the water pipes is just too high, and residents will have to find a new place to live. Among the major concerns from residents is what happens to their contracts that allow them to live in the park, including some who paid in advance. Others showed us paperwork that said their homes cannot physically be moved. We asked if the park would buy back the homes residents own themselves and will soon be forced out of. Hurt said it's too early to know. So come October 15th, what happens to you?
Good question. I don't know.
Working for you in Indianapolis, Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
Thanks, Cameron. And Cameron also reached out to a lawyer to discuss the residents' rights in this case. We will pass that information on to you as we learn more.
It's inhumane to leave 2 people there for dead, and that's what he did.
New at 11, 2 families are asking for your help after a hit and run on the west side of Indianapolis. It happened just before midnight last night near Washington and Denison Streets, seriously injuring Bobby Joe Cardwell and Elijah Johnson. Relatives say the driver stopped briefly before leaving the scene without getting help.
He ended up throwing my brother's leg away from the scene so he could move his car and drive off. And the whole time my brother was asking him, please call for help. Please just don't leave us here. But he did. He left.
How could you not get somebody help? You're out looking at them knowing they need help. I don't care if you don't have a phone. Go run somewhere, find somebody that has a phone.
Police are reviewing video that could be related to the case. If you have any information that could help investigators, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS.
We're now in the Storm Team 6 Tracking Center with meteorologist Kevin Gregory. And Kevin, it was so nice out today. We even all ate dinner outside because it was so
very nice. So we had a break. We had the storms yesterday afternoon. Then we've been kind of calm here for a while. But thunderstorms are building to our west tonight. They may wake you up in the middle of the night. That's what happens while you sleep. Rain and thunderstorms arrive, especially west and southwest of Indianapolis. Now, the severe threat is low. We call it a marginal risk. Heavy rain would accompany these storms and damaging wind. The threat from the the strongest storms. This is what we mean by quiet. It means dry as well. Just about ready to cross the Wabash River. A couple of light showers around Veedersburg, Covington, in areas along Interstate 74. This complex of thunderstorms losing a little steam, but with it torrential rainfall, almost 2 inches in an hour's period of time there, just north of Interstate 64. Thunderstorms move in while you sleep along Interstate 70 and areas southwest toward Bloomington along I-69, and then the rest of central Indiana for the morning drive. We'll pinpoint what happens to thunderstorms after tomorrow morning and the change that comes our way just in time for the weekend coming up.
We'll see you soon, Kevin. Thank you. Unfortunately, the threat of an active shooter is a growing concern for many people. You can learn how to increase your chances of surviving an attack at training sessions taught by IMPD. The department held one session tonight at the Girl Scouts of Central Indiana facility on the west side. The free 90-minute class is based around the ADD strategy, which stands for avoid, deny, defend. Police say preparation is key.
If you're prepared, you can act. Because if you're going to rely on that moment, oh, I'll know what to do in that moment, you have so much panic going on in your mind that the simplest tasks, such as unlocking a door or locking a door, your fingers are shaking, you're not used to it. When you're prepared, though, and that stress hits, you do it without even realizing you're doing it.
A training session for religious leaders will be held Sunday afternoon from 3 to 6 at the Indianapolis Hebrew Congregation on the North Meridian Street. If you have questions, call this number, 317-939-6700.
After 5 reports of guns found in student backpacks at Central Indiana schools this month, RTV6 is working for you to answer an important question. What more can be done to stop students from bringing guns on school grounds? We took the issue to lawmakers.
Safe storage for weapons, and that's an issue that even responsible gun owners want to ensure, because they know that locking their gun up is the safe way, and they also know there's been some studies to show that when kids attain those weapons, they typically do it from the home.
We have to reach out to these kids and find out why. Parents have to parent. Sadly, these kids they felt the need to bring a firearm on school property for whatever reason. Find out what that is, and then work backwards from there.
2 of those gun incidents happened yesterday at separate schools. State legislators have passed a bill that increases school safety funding by $5 million each year over the next 2 years. And it's been more than a month since someone shot and killed an 88-year-old man on the south side of Indianapolis, and police have not made any arrests. Carl Petroff was found dead in his home on South Union Street last month. IMPD tells RTV6 detectives are still following up on leads.
A new ordinance that restricts electronic cigarettes in Columbus is set to take effect on October 19th. Last night, the council passed a ban on vaping inside all businesses in the city, including clubs and bars. Well, this could be the start of a trend. Last month, Carmel passed a similar ban.
It just makes good sense from that standpoint to try to protect our citizens. We do this in multiple ways through a lot of our public safety people. We also have a responsibility to do that for their health as well.
Violators will face a $50 fine. As it's written now, the ordinance would apply to vape shops. The city council has 60 days to figure out whether they want to exempt smoking in vape shops before the law takes effect.
The Archdiocese of Indianapolis wants the courts to dismiss a lawsuit filed by a former teacher. Now, Joshua Payne Elliott is suing the church after he was fired from Cathedral High School because he's married to a man. The Archdiocese claims the lawsuit violates the First Amendment protection of separation of church and state. Payne Elliott claims the Archdiocese illegally interfered with his contract with Cathedral. The Archdiocese says it did not fire him, but instead asked Cathedral if it planned to uphold contract language that disapproves of same-sex marriage.
The site of Larry Bird, covered in tattoos, won't be around much longer. This mural of the legendary basketball player and Indiana native is in Fountain Square, but he's not a fan of it. According to Bird's attorney, the artist agreed to modify the painting. Only one tattoo that says Indiana will be allowed to stay. A unique piece of art is missing from an Indianapolis neighborhood, and people who live there want it back. The organization Millersville at Fall Creek Valley says someone stole the Bronze Hawk statue that sat atop of the iconic Millersville marker. It went missing last week.
Monetarily, the entire project was worth $20,000, not including the human effort that went into building it and keeping it clean, keeping it landscaped. But it's priceless. in a way, because it means so much to our community to have this representation of the spirit of the folks of Millersville.
The marker was commissioned by the Arts Council of Indianapolis and Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. If you have information that could lead to the statue, go to the RTV6 app and click on this story for contact information.
An event in October will help raise money for life-saving equipment. A 5K run on October 5th will serve as a fundraiser to pay for AEDs. The machines will go in all patrol cars in Morgan County. The group Bolt for the Heart is helping lead this effort. The program started in 2014.
Hamilton Southeastern Schools is the latest district to turn to the power of the sun. Today, HSC hosted a ceremony to flip the switch on a solar array at Sand Creek Intermediate School. It will provide renewable energy for that school and Sand Creek Elementary as well. The district says the solar arrays will save more than $300,000 a year in energy costs. Wayne Township Schools in Marion County is also reducing energy costs by using solar power.
I've always had a weird fascination for barriers.
Next, Hiring Hoosiers takes you to a program that is helping students achieve their wildest dreams.
If you think that I crashed my brand new airplane into the Pacific as a publicity stunt, you need your head examined.
And why a pilot is defending himself after miraculously surviving a plane crash. You're watching RTV6 News at 11.
Vehicle from Andy Moore.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Welcome back. From veterinary offices to construction sites, Hiring Hoosiers is shining a light on programs that help Central Indiana students go from classroom to career. The Washington Township School District offers an animal science and veterinary assisting program. Students get hands-on experience working with animals. The program helps prepare them for a wide range of career paths and gives them a big advantage when applying for college.
There's been stories where park rangers are getting calls about injured bears out, in the wild, or maybe they find a lost bear cub and they bring it into some sort of sanctuary or something. I would be the person that would make sure it has all of his vaccinations.
I have a student who just got accepted to the 4-year veterinary technology program at Purdue University. She is one of 300 applicants. They take 30 students.
Students also learn the business aspects of veterinary medicine, like filling out paperwork and properly discharging patients. And at Anderson Career Center, students are learning construction skills. Right now, they are working on taking apart a house that was built inside the Career Center. They will rebuild the home from scratch this school year. Students can earn college credit and certifications.
I don't need to go to college because this program that I'm in right now, I can get certified either this year or next year, and I can just go straight into construction work.
My grades are based on attendance, mostly attendance, and then the assessments are, how you do out there in the shop, how much pride you put into your work. Are you just out there going through the motions, or are you out there doing this because you're trying to show me that I can be the best person I am in here?
Students also work on projects outside of the classroom thanks to community partnerships. And many have internships where they can earn while they learn. To learn more about the construction program, the veterinary program, or any other educational or career opportunity you see here on RTV6, go to hiringhoosiers.com.
Voters will soon cast their ballots for mayor of Indianapolis and city county council. Working for you, RTV6 spent time at campaign offices for both major parties and mayoral candidates. Volunteers are making calls and knocking on doors in an effort to increase support. And while they may not agree on the issues, campaign workers on both sides of the aisle say local politics and civic engagement are important.
If you're working for a presidential campaign or state-wide campaign, you can only do so much. But if it's a local district and there's 1,000 voters, you can talk to 500, voters or plus. So you can really have a true impact.
Everybody can make a difference in any way. So whether it's volunteering on the political side or at the neighborhood level or just sort of paying attention to local issues, it will make the difference in the long run.
There are municipal elections all over the state on Election Day, November 5th. A photo shoot in an airplane over the coast of San Francisco quickly turned terrifying after the plane's engine stalled out. ABC's Alex Stone explains why the pilot is defending himself against questions about the crash possibly being a stunt.
This is the moment that David Lesh ditched his plane in the Pacific Ocean, skipping across the blue waters off the coast of San Francisco, caught on camera by his friend who was in another plane. Lesh, who is from Denver, says he was in California to do an air-to-air photo shoot of the Beechcraft Bonanza plane he had just bought. He says his plane lost all power. The engine died. He tried but failed to get it running again, and then he realized he would have to ditch in the water.
I would guess we probably didn't have much more than maybe a minute or two from the time, I figured something was wrong until we hit the water.
His friend, who was flying in the other plane, radioed air traffic control to report the crash.
We're flight issue. The Bonanza is going in the water.
That friend struggling to keep them in view.
At one point, I lost them. I had been circling and I couldn't see him anymore. And David called me on the phone as he was bobbing in the water, and he turned me around and he guided me right to where he was.
Immediately, the Coast Guard launched rescue teams. Lesh and his passenger recorded the entire thing as they were being hoisted into a helicopter. His plane eventually sank.
What was truly amazing about tonight was there was another aircraft on scene who knew to contact an airborne Coast Guard asset and get us on scene quickly.
Lesh has a history of doing extreme stunts and posting them on YouTube to sell his brand of apparel, but he tells KGO TV this was no stunt.
Our videos are provocative and edgy, but if you think that I crashed my brand new airplane into the Pacific as a publicity stunt, you need your head examined.
Rescuers call it a miracle that nobody was injured. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Whatever conclusion you draw at home there.
Well, luckily they didn't get too hurt. I think just a few jellyfish stings, that's all they said.
And those are always the hassle.
That was probably the least of their worries, right? Is there jellyfish down there? Rain, some of it may be heavy. It certainly is over Illinois. As you go to sleep tonight, some thunderstorms off to the west. They may wake you up before the alarm clock. Here's the progression overnight. 3 or 4 o'clock, the rain chances go way up even in the Indy area. And I think around 7, we wake up to thunderstorms. Just a reminder, we've had some active weather recently. Storm Shield app, it is free. It acts as a weather radio for your smartphone, iPhone or Android device. Again, it's free. Thunderstorms sitting just north of Interstate 64, putting down heavy rainfall. They're not moving very quickly. That's part of the reason why heavy rainfall, and it's still very humid. These are just drifting to the north and east. The chance will be greatest for thunderstorms west of Indianapolis and southwest over the next several hours. The progression of storms will be from southwest to northeast. Low or marginal risk for any severe storms. Flooding would be a concern in isolated spots, as well as strong winds with the stronger storms, but I think again they'll be isolated. 1 o'clock in the morning, Terre Haute southwest, thunderstorms arriving. Those push toward Park County, Rockville to Bloomington, and then into Morgan County from there, and then slide northeast for the rest of the morning hours. That's the way we start our Thursday. Rain chances will diminish, though, through the day. They kind of hang in there through the afternoon and then start to really diminish tomorrow evening. And that is the beginning of the transition to much cooler weather and lower humidity, as well as reduced chance for rain. Temperatures tomorrow start in the 70s and they'll stay in the 70s. Take the umbrella with you. First half of the day, I think more showers and thunder showers. Temperatures fall short of 80 degrees. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, still some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. Eventually, the frontal boundary creating the thunderstorms, the spark for the thunderstorms, will push to the south and push the rain chances south. That's why I think Friday is dry, Saturday and Sunday as well. Low humidity, some sunshine breaks through, about 78 for the high Friday in the metro area. As we get to Friday night, first night for high school football, a great night for high school football. Temperatures in the 70s. If it comes down to a field goal attempt to win a game, the wind shouldn't be a problem. West 5 to 10. Into the weekend we go, lows in the 50s, Saturday and Sunday morning. Early next week, temperatures will start to recover back into the mid-80s with a chance for thunderstorms Monday and Tuesday. Again, some overnight thunderstorms, especially west and southwest of Indianapolis. Morning showers, thunder showers tomorrow in the afternoon. Diminishing chance for rain, and then a nice stretch Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That might wake you up overnight, and the weekend's coming, yes.
And maybe the roof's open Saturday night for the Colts and Bears.
I'd start cranking it open now.
Would be nice.
You may have to right now. You have to manually do it. We'll talk about who will and won't play Saturday night. And, well, he's back from injury. And maybe just in time for the Reds, dare I say, to mount a playoff push. Brownsburg's Tucker Barnhart, only on RTV6 with the news at 11 continue.
At martintoyota.com.
Well, a change of course for the Colts. Frank Reich saying today that his starters will not see the playing time they usually see during this dress rehearsal week 3 of the preseason. So expect to see the second and third stringers just like last week. Colts and Bears at the stadium Saturday night. Good evening to you. Still 5 weeks left in baseball's regular season. The Reds still with an outside shot at the playoffs, especially if Tucker Barnhart has anything to say about it after some time well spent in tonight's Sports Extra Spotlight. Baseball season rolls along in Cincinnati. Brownsburg's Tucker Barnhart is very much back in the middle of it, where he may have missed 4 weeks of the season, but he didn't lose his sense of humor.
Yeah, I had a moderate oblique and abdominal strain, which I thought you had to have abs to strain them, but apparently you can. They're in there somewhere. Yeah, they're in there somewhere. His play after his return, he hopes, is the wave of the future. After working on his swing during the time away, home runs are up, the ball looking more lively off his bat. He says the injury came at a perfect time for a guy who found himself desperately needing a change of pace.
Was it just something at the beginning of the season, or was it cumulative over the last couple of years and not making the playoffs and Lord knows what?
Honestly, I can't give you like a really straightforward answer. I wish I could. It would have made it a hell of a lot easier to get through. Just was something that being away kind of helped me realize how much I love playing.
Even pregame workouts have a little more juice these days. Manager David Bell is the one seeing it up close as the one with the speed gun, measuring his throws to second base.
It was hard to see him go through the injury. It always is, but it's like one of those things that come up in life. Like, he turned that into an opportunity, and he got better while he was injured and missed time. That says so much about him.
What he hopes it really says down the stretch is that this year's team is worthy of the playoffs. The one-time Gold Glover helping a postseason push.
You're smiling again. That's good.
Yeah, it feels good, man. It was a rough patch there for a while, but to be able to enjoy coming to the field and having fun and just not taking for granted the little things, for me is the joy that I'm finding in the game again, and it's been nice.
Reds beat the Padres this afternoon 4-2. Still roughly 7 games out of that final NL wildcard spot. Start a 3-game set at Pittsburgh Friday. Friday tonight, first and foremost, from Chicago. Mentioned the Colts and Bears Saturday night in Chicago. Former Colts head coach Chuck Pagano, of course, is the Bears defensive coordinator, and was asked today by the Chicago media where they should eat Friday night.
St. Elmo's, you always got to try St. Elmo's, is good. Right down that main street there, I think it's Illinois, maybe. You got St. Elmo's, and then you can walk a couple blocks and you got Ruth Chris, which is outstanding. Then you go down to the Conrad, and they got Capitol Grill in there. If you just want to go burger and fry, Steak and Shake's right across the street from them. I highly recommend that.
All are good options, right? If Chuck's by.
If Chuck's by.
Exactly.
Sounds good.
Visit Indy's like, yes, like what you're doing there, Chuck.
We'll take it.
We'll be right back.
You need to know at Martin.com.
Slow-moving, heavy rainfall in Illinois creeping towards southwest Indiana will enter between Terre Haute and Vincennes. Overall, thunderstorm chances increase for all of us through the early morning hours, and we wake up to the evidence of overnight rain.
And you can always wake up to Good Morning Indiana coming away at 4:30 in the morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good rest of your night. Good night.